Welcome to the HR Happy Hour work break. You are here with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish. Were we just sitting there for 10 seconds, not saying
We were
anything, broadcasting,
we were
streaming?
not. Oh
Okay.
gosh, that was
Felt that way.
funny. I know. It's like you could tell this is live because I mean, like sometimes I hit go live and then like it takes a minute. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we're live now. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
Made it back from Ohio. I
I
see.
did. I have to tell you, it's funny. I even took some work calls while I was there, and I won't mention the company, but it's a talent acquisition provider. And we were talking about how, just right now it's a real struggle for people trying to do, recruitment, and they're trying to change their thinking around it. And I'll tell you what, if you go to a college campus, I think all recruiters or hiring managers need to go see like college recruiting in action right now. Wow. Like after watching the recruitment video for Ohio State, I want to go play football for them. Like,
Yeah. Well,
man.
depending on what
Oh,
kinds of students the colleges are after, it can get super competitive.
oh my
College recruiting
gosh.
is a weird kind of space because it's kind of a weird imbalance. It's not quite like sort of job recruiting in the
Right.
real world, but it's interesting for sure. And I know that they spend lots of time and resources attracting a certain kind of student, especially on
Absolutely.
athletics.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, just the level, I would just say in general, the level of enthusiasm. And I tell you what, I don't know if this is something that's out there on YouTube. I would imagine there are some campuses who have put their recruitment, like athletic recruitment, videos out there. Please go look if you're a recruiter, because no, I think what it was is I was really impressed because it was all about being very, very proud, obviously, of the long-standing, culture and heritage they have there at the school, and that really came through. But then they also then kind of turned the tables and told the kids, if you come to school here, we're going to work you so hard. I mean, and then it showed it. I mean, it showed
Yeah.
these, oh my gosh, they are worked so hard. But then they turned around and said, but we're also going to love you really hard. Right. So then it showed kind of the support side of things. And I thought that's kind of what you look for at work, actually, in a way, is that you expect to do, some challenging work, some interesting work, some really cool projects, maybe. But you expect then to get the love in return, right? And whether that's love in the form of money, recognition, whatever it is, right? But I don't know. I think that we could all learn a little something from some
Mhm.
campus videos.
Yeah, absolutely, Trish. And you mentioned like recruiting, and I had a sort of note here. So many organizations are hiring, right? We've talked on this
Mhm.
show about job listings in the United States at an
Right.
all-time high, hitting all-time highs in like 3 consecutive months, I believe, as well. And the next JOLTS report will probably be out in another week or so, maybe 2. I saw this today, Trish. HR job postings, so job
Oh,
listings for HR people, right, or HR
okay.
professionals, are way up, even more so than normal jobs. This is data
Really?
according to Indeed, our friends at Indeed, who we had on the
Right?
show. Nick Bunker from Indeed came on the podcast a few weeks ago. According to Indeed data, Trish, from February 2020, right
Mhm.
before the pandemic, to now, basically June of 2021, overall job listings, according to Indeed, are up about 30%, which makes
Oh,
sense, right? We've talking about
sure.
job listings or job openings at all-time high. HR job listings, according on the Indeed data on their site, up 52.5% from February
Wow.
2020 to June 2021. So way more than the overall increase in job listings. And I guess that's just a reflection of so many organizations are hiring right now and maybe struggling to hire and having other issues that they need more HR help with, right, around the return to work and hybrid scheduling and just all the things we've been talking about for seemingly
Right.
weeks now and months on this show and other shows. A good time to be in HR, I guess, is what I'm saying. Lots of
I would
opportunity
say
out there.
so. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
and I think too, I think you're 100% correct about, just needing more help with return to work and sort of this new way we're working. I also think that in the past, whenever companies have had to cut positions, they tend to go to those sort of, you know, cost centers that are
Yeah.
maybe easier to cut at the beginning, and HR often falls under that. So it's
Sure.
probably a lot of those jobs were cut even really early, maybe early in the pandemic, and now, yeah, trying to restaff is going to be a challenge. But That's good. I hope that the pay is commensurate with what they're actually looking for people to do. Because I do feel like every time I look at a different industry and what jobs they've cut and what jobs they're adding, it still feels like people are underpaying quite a bit. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
market forces are a funny thing, Trish. They eventually do work themselves out. I am a believer in that. Eventually that they do, and
Absolutely.
we've seen stories even in our own lives. I know people who've left jobs, say, for making $11.75 an hour to go
Mhm.
down the road to get $13.75 an hour, and
Oh,
then
sure.
the next place has to come on top over that to $15 an hour. And I do think for a wide swath of jobs in a wide swath of locations here in the U.S., that $15 an hour is going to be like almost like a fake minimum, but so many organizations are pushing
Right.
up that's kind of where a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm not going to even consider job XYZ unless it's at that baseline level." And so
Right.
maybe in a way we'll end up with a new minimum wage unofficial, and the
I
market will
think you're
sort of
onto
dictate it.
something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you're right about that. So, yeah, lots of changes in the jobs lately. So, it'll be interesting to see these next 6 months especially just how or even till the end of the year really, how companies bounce back and if they are able to start filling these positions.
Yeah. Trish, it's almost the end of June. We have not talked about Pride Month, I don't think, on the show, and we probably should have
Oh,
at least once.
yes.
So I do want to mention it. So it's awesome that it's Pride Month, and there's been a lot of really cool stuff I've seen and read, and a lot of organizations like supporting Pride Month and really cool stuff. I wanted to just shout out. I don't know if you saw this, Trish. It's about a week ago now. The first active NFL
I
player
did.
announced that disclosed he's gay. His name's Carl Nassib, plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. That's
Mhm.
weird to say too, by the way, the Las
It
Vegas
is, isn't it?
Raiders.
I know. It doesn't feel right.
And aside from Pride Month, I've heard and seen some pictures that Las Vegas football stadium, which they built a year ago and
Right?
played in last year, but they weren't able to have fans, right, because of the pandemic. I've heard
Sure.
that's like an over the top, crazy Las Vegas experience.
Oh, is it really?
There's even a full nightclub set up behind
Oh,
one of the end zones that you
okay.
can go and like get your club on, do your bottle service thing in the end zone or behind the end zone. So anyway,
Football
shout out
game.
to Carl Nassib. And the other thing that was really cool that happened right after that announcement came out, his jersey, like in the NFL shop,
Mhm.
the Carl Nassib jersey, who quite frankly I had never heard of before this
Right.
announcement. I'm not a
Did it sell
huge
out?
football fan. The number one sales position in the NFL online store immediately after that
Mm,
announcement. So shout out to
that's great.
him, and happy Pride Month. I thought we should mention it because we're almost to the end of June here.
We should. And you know what? That's one of those things I probably personally don't talk a lot about because I sort of feel like if you're not extremely knowledgeable about the intricate details, right, of things, you probably of any topic, right, you probably shouldn't be the one that's best to address it. So that's a little bit of that. But I have spent a lot of time watching on all our social media channels and of all of the different people who are absolutely celebrating Pride Month and opportunities that have, been coming and also still the struggles, right, that go along with that. So, but what I will say, and I know you're still not probably a big TikTok fan, but TikTok has been outstanding, not just this month, but in the month kind of leading up to it. And there are so many cute and interesting and challenging videos out there for Pride Month. So yeah, if you're a TikTok person like me, go out there and just do a quick search, and you can see people who are really kind of living that lifestyle and living that life. I should say it's not even a lifestyle, just living life that way, right? And
Yeah,
I guess make yourself aware of some of the challenges that people face that you or I might not even be aware of.
yeah, and it's not like it's great that it's celebrated by so many more people, but it's also I think important to remember, hey, like there's still a long way to go here.
Long
Like
way to go.
not all these
Yep.
things have been solved or are not issues anymore. But anyway, I thought it was good to mention that. And
Good.
last thing too, we didn't mention this yesterday. Our new HR Happy Hour show posted yesterday with
Right. It sure
Yvette
did.
with Yvette Cameron from Oracle, and we talked
Yes.
all about skills and helping employers understand the skills of their workforce, helping people understand and better develop their own skills in order to further their career objectives, and some new solutions that Oracle has just released, right, to help organizations in those endeavors. And so I'd encourage folks to check that out if they're interested in kind of where talent development and talent management is going. I thought it was a great show.
Yeah, I do too. And you know what? Yvette does such a nice job. It was a really tactical kind of show. And I'm thinking like, you don't even have to be an HR. You could be a hiring manager. You could just be someone who's a manager that's not hiring, right? And just wanting to think about how do you think about the roles within your company differently with all the skills. It's a perfect show for that. So yeah, I'd encourage everyone to listen.
Cool.
Good deal. Hey, listen, before we, I want to talk about something a little bit fun before we say goodbye for today and actually for the weekend, right? Because we're taking Fridays off.
Summer Friday tomorrow.
Yes, we're going to try tomorrow as our first Friday off for the summer. But no, I was reading an article and it's on mentalfloss.com and it's about the 10 most confusing books of all time. So I immediately thought of you because I feel like you read confusing books. So I wanted to just do a quick little quiz to see if you've read 10 of the most confusing books of all time. And this was rated by, it was a study done in the UK by onbuy.com. It was about 3,200 people, so a good amount of people that responded to this. But let's see. Should we start with 10 or 1? You want to start with 10?
Sure.
Number 10, Life of Pi. I've read it.
I have not.
I didn't think that was that confusing. I'm not sure why that's there. Moby Dick.
I did wrestle with that in some college course.
Is it challenging?
I didn't like it. I thought it was awful.
You didn't? Okay. I've not read that one.
Really long and I barely remember it.
How about now the next two I've heard are a little difficult. Ulysses by James Joyce.
Never tried that. That's notoriously complex. I did not attempt that. Yeah.
Right. But that's like number 8. Number 7 is Don Quixote.
I have read that.
Did you find it challenging?
I don't particularly remember that much
incredible?
about it. But...
number 6 is Les Mis. So that is a very complex. If you actually read the book by Victor Hugo, it is pretty challenging.
Like a pass on that.
5 is Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre. Is that how you say it? Charlotte Bronte?
I didn't read.
I've never read that.
I didn't read either of them. So
Wuthering Heights by her sister. Maybe they're complex sisters. I'd love to hear from people that have actually read these.
That sounds awful. That sounds like a punishment having to read that.
Right. 3 is Lord of the Flies.
I think I read that in a college.
I think I did too.
Course.
High school, maybe. Number 2 is Animal Farm by George Orwell.
I read that.
And the number 1 most confusing book to read, according to this study, and this was they're basing it on monthly searches of things relating to the book too. There were over 50,000, almost 50,000 searches a month on this book. Catch 22.
Did not read it.
Joseph Heller. I haven't either. So anyway, well, there you go. Now you got some books. If you really want a good challenge, you what?
I'm waiting for Catch 24 to come out. I'm gonna dive.
Are you? Yeah. See, that'd just be on Netflix or something, right? Anyway, listen. Hey, so for good summer reading, check out one of those books, I guess, and then you can report back. Thanks everyone for catching up with us today. We will catch you back here on Monday. Hopefully we'll have a successful Friday off. We can tell you about then, and we hope that you have a nice weekend too. Be sure to, like Steve mentioned, catch our latest episode of the HR Happy Hour podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you after the weekend. Bye.